see here. How do I want to start this? All right, so we are back on a couple of our showcase lawns, kind of following up on the progress that we're at right now. We started early spring this year. We've had a lot of, things to combat over time, whether that was winter weeds that we are starting to really not see anymore, getting rid of those summer weeds as well, and starting to get some of these areas that we've had problems with starting to fill in as well. As we go through the summer, obviously one of the biggest things that we deal with is going to be issues with watering. And you can kind of see a little bit of that here and there. A common thing that people do is when we get a little bit of rain, they tend to shut their sprinklers off and forget to turn them back on. So it's always important to make sure you don't ever turn those off throughout the summer, because we're not going to have any issues with overwatering. Now on the lawn that we're on right now, grassy weeds over the winter, rescue grass is one of the biggest things that we were combating because it was basically all winter grasses. So now that we've got those under control, the St. Augustine grass is filled in amazingly. We've got a little bit of Bermuda grass in some of the areas where the previous St. Augustine has died off. So the good thing, we had a root system there previously that was able to bounce back, so at least we don't have a bunch of bare areas. Through the soil builders that we've put down, we've been able to get a lot more new growth. We've done a few grassy weed treatments for Dallas grass. These are one of those that you have to be extremely aggressive with, because with the way that root system is, it's extremely deep within the soil, and if you don't completely get rid of it, then it's going to continue to come back time after time. So we've used some glyphosate, which is the only thing that we found that actually can get rid of that. So in some of those areas, obviously it will kill off everything because it is a non-selective herbicide. So in those areas that we've treated that, there are some bare spots that we're still getting to recover, but we have gotten rid of those weeds. One of those bare areas that I was referring to, that, when we've come here, we've applied that glyphosate to kill that Dallas grass. We do have some of these areas that have died off. Because it is a non-selective, it will kill all types of grass and weeds. So in some of these areas, we don't have a lot of growth left this season, so we're probably not going to get all of these to completely recover before the end of the season. So this is one of those things where I wouldn't put any of that sod down this year, because more than likely, if we happen to get those freezes, that grass will die off before it gets established. The last thing you want to do is waste time and money. So in the spring next year, generally right around the beginning of April, that would be the most ideal time to put that new sod down, because the soil temperatures are going to be right to get that root system established. And then we're also going to have the entire season to get that root system established before it goes dormant that next season. So, anything that does not recover or fill in this year can always be addressed in the spring next year. As of right now, whenever you see some yellowing within that St. Augustine grass, one of the things that we're always going to be concerned with is chinch bugs. Chinch bugs like hot, dry areas, and they only attack St. Augustine grass. Luckily, I have checked all of these areas here, and we haven't found anything that we haven't found any of the chinch bugs, but it also isn't showing the signs that they are also causing that damage, because we're not having any die off at all. Now, as far as some of the Dallas grass treatments that we have done that have caused some of the bare areas, you can kind of see in some of these spots right here where they have become bare. You still have some of this old growth left, but because there's not a lot of green coming back, we know that we have pretty much taken care of this. There's a couple of spots that we can hit, a couple more times while we still have the opportunity for it to absorb that product. But a lot of the time, once these weeds start to shut down and go dormant, they also don't absorb that product anymore. So at this point, we're just trying to get the most amount of recovery that we can we get to the end of the year. And then we can just kind of evaluate things for the spring next year.